Tonight from Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, the 10th-ranked Wildcats meet up with the Fighting Hawks of North Dakota for the first time ever. John Calipari has promised a return to the basics and some old-school basketball to try to get this Kentucky team back on track here in the Bluegrass, where expectations are always through the roof. Welcome courtside, everybody. Tom Hart alongside John Sunvold. We're just a couple weeks into this basketball season. We still don't know for sure what we have. What we know is that you look at the top 10, there are some teams playing great basketball, and Kentucky's still among the top 10 but waiting to play their best. Yeah, Kentucky is a team. We know they'll get there because of the talent. And when they start looking, when you get spanked as badly as they did against Duke, you start to wonder about this team. You saw Kansas, outstanding, Gonzaga, through the list. And there stands at number 10, Kentucky. We know they'll get to that point. Could it be tonight a turning point? As you said, Coach Cal, got to go back to the basics. And the basics means get tougher defensively and maybe more man-to-man, get a little pressure. Tennessee, the highest-ranked SEC team at number 5 after a big win last night against Georgia Tech. John Calipari, the head coach here for Kentucky, is looking for better play both individually and as a team. And one of the guys they need better performances from is P.J. Washington. He was a power at times last season, has yet to hit his stride this year. A slow start for one of the preseason first-team picks in the SEC, up for the Wooden Award, up for the Naismith Award. But he, again, will get it going. A slow start, fouled out in 17 minutes against Duke. Did not play well against Southern Illinois. But again, tonight is a new night. The great thing about basketball, there's more games than just once a week. They wanted him to be more of a perimeter-oriented player coming into the season, but he's turned it over 5 times last time out in the win against Southern Illinois. Meanwhile, there's Tyler Hero. And talk about going back to basics. John Calipari wants him to look to shoot the ball. Is it that simple when you're a shooter? At times, what you want to do as a great shooter is maybe make a play for a teammate. When you play the game of basketball, get your teammate open, and then get an easy bucket. How about a layup, get to the free throw line, be aggressive with the ball, not only looking for your shot. If you get guys involved, then all of a sudden you make it easy when you're back on track. Tyler Hero seems to be the best shooter on this Kentucky team. See if he can break out of his mini slump. Meanwhile, North Dakota's here for the first time ever. Thanks to the icy roads and bad weather conditions, they may not get that prototypical Rupp Arena experience, but it's never easy to win here no matter what the crowd looks like. You know, the thing is, Brian Jones comes in, and he brings 11 new players this year for a North Dakota team. He's a good coach. They've had a great program. They have good spacing. They'll play man-to-man defense. He told us today, we're just going to play our kind of game to get ready for the Summit League. And when you do that, we don't know what the score could be tonight. It is a new league for this North Dakota team. Oddly enough, this is the last state in the Union that Kentucky has never played a team from. With a win today, they'll have a winning record against every state in the Union except for the state of Connecticut. Thanks to Big Blue History's Twitter account for that info. The Fighting Hawks of North Dakota at a Grand Forks enrollment of just under 15,000. Their first year in the Summit League. They had been in the Big Sky. It wasn't that long ago that they were a Division II school playing in the North Central Conference. The move to the Summit gets them back with their rivals, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, even down I-29 to Nebraska, Omaha. It makes travel a whole heck of a lot easier. And Brian Jones has had a lot of success. 13th year as a coach, went to NCAA 2 years ago, now back in the Summit, like you mentioned. 7-year assistant coach at the University of Iowa under Steve Alford. He has been around. They've played big games every year. A year ago, they're nearly knocked off Gonzaga on the road, lost in overtime. He might be the tallest head coach in Division I basketball, 6'11". He'll stick with the same starting 5. That's gotten him off to a 2-0 start this season, including a win Saturday at Milwaukee by 3. They held Milwaukee to 17 points and 20% shooting in the first half. They have been here since then. They're practically Lexington residents. Meanwhile, Kentucky's starting 5 includes Emmanuel Quickly at the point, Hero at 1 guard, Keldon Johnson, P.J. Washington, and inside the Stanford transfer, Reed Travis. Winter weather has rolled through the Commonwealth, ice on the roads outside, so as I mentioned, maybe not as many folks in the seats here, but you can always expect great energy at Rupp Arena. North Dakota players were fun to watch shooting around today. They were excited to be in a place that they have only seen on TV and heard about. And Brian Jones said this experience that we want to embellish, but we want to come and play basketball. It took Gonzaga to overtime last year. They lost to the then 12th ranked Zags. Quickly inside, Reed Travis. lost a handle on it. Kentucky's been awfully sloppy through the first 2 games. More turnovers than assists. And that continues with their first possession tonight.
19 turnovers against Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois led much of that ball game. Barry Hinson's club came in much like this North Dakota team. Good spacing, solid ball movement, find the open shooter, and make open shots.
Good look inside from Keenan Walter.
Anytime on the offensive end, if you can make defensive teams chase the ball. If they're going to switch and double team, if they chase the ball, spacing's good, and if you make open looks, you've got a chance.
Here's Tyler Hero. Second possession for Kentucky.
They will not give Hero much room because of the way he can shoot the basketball.
Davids Altabowers picks up his first personal foul, part of the international flavor for this North Dakota team. He's from Latvia. And it'll put Emmanuel Quickly at the free throw line. 15 points for Quickly in the win against Southern Illinois. And that's his first miss from the free throw line this season after making his first 7. Nick Richards enters immediately, and P.J. Washington takes a seat on the Kentucky bench.
Early season coaching by many coaches, especially if you got a lot of talent on the side, will be in and out players. Defensive misassignment, turnover in the offensive end. We've seen it often by Coach Cal, trying to find the right combinations, trying to get guys motivated to play at the level he wants them to play.
Billy Brown, a great shooter, gives it up to Otto Bowers. And once again, North Dakota going inside. Otto Bowers for 3. And North Dakota's opened up a 5-1 lead here through a couple possessions.
It sounds simple at times, but the way they move their bodies, also with the basketball.
Hero from the elbow.
Watch a Hero shoot during warm-ups. It is an easy game the way he releases the ball. Yes, you'll have tough nights. The problem is when you have a tough night, everybody talks about if you're in a slump.
Quickly the takeaway, and got all the way in and took a shove from behind from Cortez Seals. Interesting. I mean, you were a great shooter in your day, talking about the mental aspect of shooting. You think how hard is it to ignore that outside noise?
Well, it's hard to. It'd be harder today because everybody's either tweeting about it or putting it on social media. But as a freshman, you're going to have games 0 for 3, 0 for 6, 1 for 5, and you're maybe not in a slump. And so you've got to go to practice. You go early, you stay late. And obviously, Coach Cal talked about it in the media and talked about, hey, it's different than high school. You don't just get to catch it and then try to figure out what you want to do with it. You've got to be ready, have your feet set. If you're coming off a screen, be ready to shoot, put it on the floor. But if you're a scorer like Tyler is, hits his first one of this game, I mean, he's probably out of his so-called slump is what they talk about.
Quickly knocks down a couple free throws, locked at 5. It's a North Dakota team that went 6-12 in the Big Sky last year, transitioning to the Summit this season. Much more geographic friendly league for him.
Tom, each guy when he catches it almost looks to shoot it. It's a pump fake, which has been able to get the Kentucky defenders kind of on their knee, raising up, so then they can make quicker passes, more cuts. Seals, who runs a show out front, is not a great outside shooter.
Keenan Walters off the mark, just 32% from 3.
Spacing different on Kentucky's in. Not as good. Guys too tight in. Great move.
That's Reed Travis, the Stanford transfer. He's got a bucket early. He only played 14 minutes due to foul trouble last time out against Southern Illinois. I asked him today, I said, what is the difference for you this year versus last year in foul trouble? He said, simple. At Stanford, if I got in foul trouble, we just went zone. I didn't leave the game. He was the offensive weapon for Jared Hass's team last year with the Cardinal.
And now he is playing really with a bunch of kids. He's an old man.
Otto Bowers hits his second triple. Freshman point guard. Here's Travis for 3. Back-to-back buckets for Reed Travis.
He has a great feel for the game on both ends of the floor.
Long 2 goes for Cortez Seals. He's a senior out of Eldridge, Iowa.
Well, Tom, right now it is easy for North Dakota on the offensive end. They've been able to get any pass they want, get any open shot they've wanted to get.
Richards trying to take over. 3 straight for him. Carney, Travis, he's got 7 now. I was watching Nick Richards. This could be a really lethal combination with Travis and Richards inside for Kentucky.
Well,
Hero got his hand
and
out.
you think about the way Travis can step out. Gives Richards much more work inside.
Reed Travis has 7 of Kentucky's 12, only 14 minutes last time. He's got more points in the first 4 minutes tonight than he did the entire game against Southern Illinois. Reed Travis going to work inside for Kentucky. For John Calipari here at the University of Kentucky, he's won 81% of his games as a head coach here, including a national championship to go along with 4 trips to the Final Four. 8 consensus All-Americans in his first 9 seasons here. Nobody has put more guys in the pros. Nobody has made more money with his guys in the pros. 26 first-round picks, 4 #1 overall, including Derrick Rose when he was at Memphis, and John Wall, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns. And historically, he's on pace. Same number of wins as Adolph Rupp through 341 games.
That's an amazing stat, the exact number. I mean, that is quite incredible. And if you had to write a new book, I know he's written one, but write a new one is how do you coach millennials, right? He's been maybe the best at it and set the tone for what others are trying to do and are now getting success at it.
Ashton Hagans is checked in the game for Kentucky. Takeaway by P.J. Washington, and they turn it over. Or if he were to be in a movie, it might be Groundhog Day, because he runs a lot of the same practices year after year with the youth that he has.
You know, Tom, you and I were at Tennessee last week, and Rick Barnes has a veteran crew, and when they run practice, they go from one thing to the next, and it's easy. They just add because the guys have been around. As you mentioned, Coach Cal, it's almost teaching every day. He doesn't have a veteran group that can get from one thing to the next. And it would be a challenge to do it every year as they have to do it in Kentucky.
And oddly enough, this is one of the most veteran teams that he's had in some time with the sophomores that he has returning and with Reed Travis. And he said that's oddly enough what seems to have gotten Kentucky in this position with the blowout loss to Duke and struggles against Southern Illinois. He said we made assumptions that we were further along than we really were, number one. And number two, we didn't really put that much work in on the defensive side of the ball over the course of the summer, the trip to the Bahamas, then early in the season, and boy, did it show.
And Reed Travis is a fifth-year senior, but he's new here. I mean, it's a whole new system for him. So instead of being a veteran leader, he's just an older guy that's kind of learning with the freshmen also. And when you make sophomores your leaders, they haven't really been through it all themselves, right? Just a little bit.
Corner three rattles home for Anand Moody. He's a redshirt freshman from Dickinson High School in North Dakota.
The only North Dakotan on the team. Outstanding shooter.
P.J. Washington knocks down a three. I asked Reed Travis what his role is with this team when you suffer through a loss like they did at Duke. And he said, yeah, the young guys are a little wide-eyed. He goes, honestly, so was I. None of us expected it to happen. But I was there to remind guys, hey, it's a long season. We're just one game into it. There are going to be ebbs and flows. He said there are plenty of times during my time at Stanford where we would lose a conference game by 20. Next time out, face that same team in round robin, beat them by 25 the next time. Kentucky will be right back at it Sunday afternoon. Right here on the SEC Network. VMI will be in town. Airtime at 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 Central. Always watch on the ESPN app from anywhere. Andy Kennedy will be calling that game with me on Sunday.
You know, you mentioned the loss to Duke, and once in a while those losses happen at Stanford. They don't happen at Kentucky. And so, and let's be realistic, there will be psychological damage when those kind of games happen.
Quade Green got tied up, lobbed it up.
A sloppy handle by Green going through the lane. He was fortunate to get the ball back, and then not a good pass.
3 assists to 2 turnovers in 26 minutes against Southern Illinois for Quade Green. North Dakota turns it over. Green's got numbers, will take it himself.
traditionally, year in, year out, the Kentucky team can, especially at home, do it on the defensive end. Steals, rebounds, the push, the easy buckets.
Three-ball good for Philip Rebracha, whose dad played in the NBA in the early 2000s for 3 different teams.
These are great games for a Kentucky team to play. Yes, heavily favored. Yes, supposed to win. But you can tell the type of team North Dakota is. They make you guard. They stretch you defensively. You've got to learn to stay in front of your guy, help and recover, because all 5 players on the floor for North Dakota can make shots.
Nice kiss off the glass for Quade Green, and an illegal screen on Marco Coudreau, freshman from France. It's something you'll see this year in college basketball. If you're setting a screen and your feet are any wider than shoulder width apart, you can be called for an illegal screen.
Puts a lot of pressure on the ball handler to get the defender into the screen. Can't take him wide because especially big guys have a tendency to move those knees out and pick up the personal foul.
So Brian Jones, 2017 Big Sky Coach of the Year, played at Northern Iowa. Strong move inside, was halfway home for E.J. Montgomery. And a loose ball. Montgomery got his hands in there. North Dakota comes out with it. Out front, Vijek.
Good hustle. What coaches will notice, especially the home coach, he'll notice that not one of his guys dove on the floor. Coaches see those things. Players don't realize it until they get in the film room. I thought I dove on the floor. I guess I didn't.
You can't miss it when it's not filmed. Tyler Hero hangs and hits, and he'll go to the line.
Good finish. Second bucket. And the calmness of once he got the contact. Keep an eye on his eyes and his head. On the rim. Finish the play.
Tyler Hero's a Wisconsin native, originally committed to Wisconsin, and like another guy that ended up in Kentucky from a little bit far away, he got the same kind of treatment that Malik Monk and his family did when he changed his commitment from the home state school. And his dad originally confiscated a lot of the letters that were coming to him, so that you don't need to see any of it because some of it was so ugly. Great article in The Athletic, and letters from parents to the players here for Kentucky. But Tyler quickly realized what was on the line and how everybody felt about it back home. He said, I need to be somewhere where I wasn't the best player on the floor. Montgomery got cut off.
Fighting Hawks have been really solid on the defensive end. Not giving up many easy buckets.
This is the big guy, Connor Avance. He's big at 6'7", 235. Decided height advantage for Kentucky tonight.
You notice their man-to-man defense. It'll be a little softer out front, right? They won't get beat off the dribble, but they don't quite challenge the shooters.
Content to take away the penetration?
Yeah, they're going to make Kentucky make jump shots. Now you're going to guard Hero. You're going to make other guys make jump shots.
P.J. Washington's made 2 of them tonight. Here's Brown, and Billy Brown's off the mark.
Hero got away with about 3 steps, traveling out front.
Might have been distracted by the call from the bench. P.J. Washington rolls one home.
Good start for Washington.
There was a time at practice this afternoon, P.J. Washington wasn't running with the starting 5. I was honestly surprised to see his name in the starting lineup when we got here tonight.
That's why we featured him. We know he'd probably start.
Kicking the crystal ball. Here's Moody. Too strong. Hero will go to the free throw line again. So they wanted to see more perimeter play from P.J. Washington. Here it is.
Well, we mentioned the fact that he's had a slow start to the season. But you're not on all the lists to be player of the year in this league and nationally if you're not one of the best. P.J. off to a good start.
Well, plenty of talent for Kentucky coming into this season. Preseason Wooden Award, Liz Keldon Johnson, the freshman, P.J. Washington, who's off to a great start tonight, and Reed Travis, who was a three-time captain and team MVP while he was at Stanford. Originally McDonald's All-America coming out of De La Salle High School in Minneapolis. ESPN.com has P.J. Washington projected as the number 21 NBA draft prospect in college basketball, sophomore out of Dallas. 6'7", 234, a 36.5-inch vertical leap. 7'3" wingspan. He's got a NBA body.
30 starts a year ago in his freshman season. Remember the loss against Kansas State in the Sweet 16. 18 points, 15 rebounds, played all 40 minutes in that one.
The question this season relative to last has been his motor and the effort put forth the last two games. One of the things John Calipari is telling us today at practice is that he was disappointed for PJ in the defensive end because he simply wasn't in a defensive stance. He wasn't bending over, which would point directly towards just putting the effort in.
Well, and that's the challenge to the next level, and that's what they want. And they watch it closely. What's the effort that a team that's going to pay you a lot of money, what are they going to get in that effort? So this sophomore season, I think we'll see Washington step it up a notch on that end of the floor. Most of the time, the NBA doesn't necessarily worry about the offensive end. They know what you can do. It's defensively. How do you play? How do you challenge yourself? Can you lock down for 7, 8 seconds? That's sometimes all it is at the pace that's played.
It doesn't sound that tough.
No, not hard at all.
I've focused for at least 9 seconds tonight. Tyler Hero perfect from the free throw line. Kentucky's lead is 13.
It all depends who has the ball in front of you for those 7 or 8 seconds.
I guess so.
Mine only lasts about 3. They just went right by me.
Great defense in the corner by Travis and Hagans. It turns into a Kentucky takeaway. Emmanuel quickly finishes it off.
Solid defense. Good pass by Hero, made it easy.
Kentucky's on a 14-0 run. They've scored 19 of the last 22 points in this thing.
Tom, communication is better by this Wildcat team on the defensive end. Switching if they have to switch, communicating, getting to the shooters for this North Dakota team.
Quickly is able to draw the foul on Billy Brown. It's his first. We'll put Quickly at the free throw line. Saturday, 10 Eastern, SEC Nation is going to be on the road, and here is a look at our football schedule. We got Citadel against #1 Alabama. Will Tua play the entire game? Kentucky's home against Middle Tennessee State. UMass Georgia at 4, along with Liberty Auburn, and then Ole Miss and Vandy for SEC Saturday night.
A lot of non-conference.
Oh, you noticed?
Yeah. And you'll be at Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Might be a high-scoring game.
I would think so.
Another free throw coming for Emmanuel Quickly. The Kentucky football team has had a tough go of it lately, but they could still make history. Only twice before have they finished with 10 wins or more. That once in the 50s and then in 1977. Went out in the regular season, win your bowl game, likely against a Big Ten opponent.
They're at 7 right now.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see how Louisville comes out without Bobby Petrino now. Deep penetration and goaltending whistled on Nick Richards. It was Cortez Seals who will be credited with the bucket.
This is what Seals does best. Not an outside shooter, and from his guard position. Puts it on the floor. He's left-handed, likes to get to the paint.
Seals had 23 last year. in the overtime loss at Gonzaga. Gino Crandall, then his teammate, also had a great game. So good, in fact, that he is now at Gonzaga. He transferred.
So you're saying in the handshake line at the end,
Mark
Coach said, so you're going to graduate this year or not?
How would you like to play in the kennel every other game instead of just one? He's got a loaded team once again. Rui Hachimura had, I think, 34 his first time out. And they're going to be without one of their big, Skillian Tilly, for the first 2 months of the season, but still loaded. Foul on Kentucky and Nick Richards. 32-18, the Kentucky lead. We're at the under 8 timeout here in the first half at Rupp Arena. Kentucky in control. Some shooters in the building tonight. Might have a free throw contest between Kyle Macy and John Sumble before we're finished. I would also throw Tyler Hero and Rex Chapman in that contest just to see.
I'll take Kyle on my team. We'll take the young guys on. We'll take it.
Well, speaking of the veterans for Kentucky, Reed Travis is here now. Postgraduate trip for him here on the basketball side. You got P.J. Washington, Quade Green, who was injured last year, opening the door. There's sophomore Nick Richards. That's what they call him around this area. And John Calipari has guys who know what to expect from John Calipari and from the conference.
And I'm going to say kind of.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not, sophomores to me are still sophomores. They're veterans a little bit, but they will still give a coach a lot of headaches.
I always thought the biggest value for an upperclassman on a John Calipari team is the education of the youngsters, in that even away from the basketball side of it, say, hey, I know he was tough on you today. And Nick Richards goes down holding his ankle after committing the charge. It's a second on Richards. I know he was tough on you today, but here's how he's going to react next. I know it may seem really tough now, but here's where it'll turn the corner.
Yeah, every player has to do that in any program. I'd almost think it's as valuable off the floor with the pressure. We'll take a look at the turn of the ankle.
Right ankle.
But almost the pressure of playing at Kentucky, right? I mean, what's expected throughout Big Blue Nation. And you and I talked about it last week. Reed Travis, when you come here from a different place, it would be like in Major League Baseball signing with the New York Yankees.
Yeah, I love your Giancarlo Stanton reference.
You think it's going to be kind of fun, but when you get there, you go, wow, this is serious stuff.
Here's Reed Travis, takes it strong, has it rejected, and then goes off of Avance and will stay with Kentucky. One other difference for Reed Travis. Take a look at North Dakota getting back and getting up. And Walter with the block.
Also checking in is P.J. Washington. He replaces
P.J. Washington returns. Travis will take a seat. At Stanford, your roommates are just guys. They're not basketball players. You're put in with any other student. And Reed was telling me that his freshman year roommate, the guy ended up being an engineer for Google, but he needed to stay up all night with the light on working on whatever he was working on, his computer science stuff. And Reed needed to get some sleep. He said, I would get my work done at the library, come back to the dorm, and I needed to sleep. And finally, we had to have a heart-to-heart. I said, man, I don't want to get in your way. You're going to be wildly successful, but my major outside of the academics is basketball.
A challenge. I mean, you are a full-time, a student athlete. There's two parts. You're the student, which is difficult in itself, and then you're the athlete. And honestly, you have very little time for another third piece.
Yeah. Here's P.J. Washington. Nice touch.
Good patience. He turned and faced, and then he started backing up, and with no double team, finish that play.
E.J. Montgomery gets whistled for a foul. Reached over the top. Oh, pardon me. It's going to be a hook on Avance. That's his first. Third-year starter, Connor Avance from Edmond, Oklahoma. (2010) as his senior, Deer Creek High School in Oklahoma.
And the team 7.
17th foul. Kentucky will be shooting the rest of the way. Did you watch the Tennessee game last night? Tennessee and Georgia Tech?
I did. I did.
Did you stay awake?
It wasn't pretty.
49 personal fouls, 59 free throws.
I would say Rick Barnes was happy though on the defensive end. They did some good things in their man-to-man defense.
They're fantastic against Josh Pastner's team. Held them to 28% shooting. Georgia Tech made 16 field goals, committed 30 personal fouls.
Tennessee is going to have a terrific season. It's going to compete for another championship in this league and have a chance to get to a Final Four.
Keldon Johnson took a shot to the face. Saturday, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. SEC Nation will be in Athens for UMass and number 5 Georgia. Break down everything from the gridiron to the grill for week 12 of the college football season. SEC Nation presented by Regions Bank right here on the SEC Network, also streaming live on the ESPN app.
So Georgia and Alabama will play for the championship.
Yes.
Has it ever been determined this early?
That was pretty early, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Keldon Johnson launched his contact.
But I guess in the old days, everybody played non-conference games earlier, and now, you know, you fill
well, there was
in
always the rivalry games at the end of the year, like
Yeah.
even when Florida was going to the SEC championship game on a regular basis, they still had Florida State late. It was decided here in Lexington when Georgia came here to win and won the East.
Johnson at the line for 2.
Keldon Johnson has a new eyeball. He had 23 against Duke and then 15 last time out against Southern Illinois.
Checking out for Kentucky is Emmanuel Quickly.
Emmanuel Quickly returns. Both coaches we talked to today early in the season with new pieces. Of course, Kentucky had the trip to the Bahamas, but with new pieces, trying to figure out how, not only who their best 5 is, but who their best group of 5 is.
Yeah, we know that on Kentucky. They're always searching early on the season. We talked with Brian Jones, 11 new faces. He said, you know, I'm not quite sure what I have. I've got some older guys that have been around that understand how I want to play. They've got to teach a younger one. Going to a new conference, the place that they really wanted to be.
Philip Rebracha with the personal foul.
And most of us and Kentucky fans are getting used to what Coach Cal has to do every year.
Yeah.
Right? It's a new group, new faces. Someone will emerge as the months go on that you go, wow, that's their leader, that's their guy.
Gilgeous Alexander last year turned into a superstar.
Yep.
Talking with Cal today, he said, you know, I'd forgotten how tough the middle of last year was. I just remembered how we finished and how well we played. What was the last third of conference play? Then they went into St. Louis and blew everybody out in the conference tournament.
Yeah, they were 6-7 in the SEC play, and then 1-4 their last 5. They got on a roll, got to St. Louis, won the tournament, and then lost to Kansas State in the NCAA Sweet 16. So they got on that roll, but there was a point when they had lost 4 in a row and were under 500 in the league that all the questions were coming out. Can they be good enough? Will they make the tournament? How will they do, etc. And everybody kind of grew up quickly, and they emerged, and they were fabulous in St. Louis.
They blew away Colin Sexton in Alabama, 86-63. As Bonnie Green knocks down a couple of free throws before beating Tennessee in the title game by 5. And the Buffalo team they beat in the second round is pretty good. They're ranked this year.
Yeah, they're really good.
Here's Keldon Johnson up ahead.
Half-court trap by Kentucky. Nobody recognized it from UND.
So North Dakota now being in a conference that makes sense for them, right? Chance to play their natural rivals.
Well, it's really the old North Central Conference. That's South Dakota, South Dakota State, North Dakota State. Way back when it was Morningside out of Sioux City, Iowa, Mankato State out of Minnesota. They're not there now, but you put Omaha. You've got Denver in it, and the other night Denver nearly beat Kansas State. Kansas State highly ranked this season. A very good league
right now.
South Dakota State is the favorite. Mike Daum is an All-American, second or third team, depending on which publication you look at.
And for a conference of its size, they have the tournament in the same place every year. It's in Sioux Falls, and it is something else.
Yeah, it's been great the last few years. South Dakota State has become kind of the team to beat. So if you're in your state, Sioux Falls, it's much like the Big 12 playing in Kansas City, SEC being in Nashville. If you're in there consistently year in, year out, that sets the fan bases of every school knows where they're heading when March comes.
And the SEC just announced that they have Nashville locked up through 2035 with one trip to Tampa mixed in there. I think that's 22. Offensive foul on P.J. Washington. It's his first. You won't argue with going back to Nashville a few times, will you?
Nah, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. The fan base loves it. I think the players and coaches. The way downtown is set up in Nashville with a hotel situation.
Pretty good deal.
Broadway's not a bad place to hang out for the fan
base. Rebracha next down the three. He's got a couple of triples tonight. He was cleared and made eligible just hours before their game on Saturday against Milwaukee. They have another player who's not active right now, Marlon Stewart, junior transfer from Creighton. He's expected to rejoin the team at the end of semester.
Gives them a bit more speed to the backcourt.
Kentucky has used a 14-0 run to take a 14-point lead. They're doing it with defense. A trap, a steal, a dunk. That's a pretty good equation for John Calipari's Cats. And they're in control, up 39-25 on the Fighting Hawks.
Who am I? I'm a graduate student forward for the University of Kentucky. A few things that you don't know about me. My favorite show was Seinfeld. Competed in poetry slams when I was in middle school, and I was a high school quarterback. Who am I? Reed Travis.
There's a lot you'd be interested to know about Reed Travis. He grew up in Minneapolis, and he was so close to the Golden Gophers program, he nearly signed with Tubby Smith's squad coming out of De La Salle in the Twin Cities. In fact, he and his brothers would go over to Williams Arena on a regular basis, have an open door, find an open door, be welcomed through it, whatever it took. They would go and get shots up in that venerable old arena nonstop. He said it was like my second home. That's where I got all my shooting done.
He would have been a huge quarterback.
Yeah.
Cam Newton stuff.
Right. Got his degree in science, technology, society while at Stanford. He said the biggest change he's made since coming to Kentucky is just enjoying the college experience. He said, you know, you're at Stanford and everybody has a calm exterior, but they're paddling like crazy underneath the water. You know, they're like that duck fighting the current. He said it's really hard to have fun when you're at Stanford because everyone is so bent on being successful. And Travis working hard inside with great defense from Rebracha. He said, I got here, got a chance to enjoy the great run the Kentucky football team went on, got to be a fan. Here's Tyler Hero. Buckle up. Kind of feel like that could have been better, you know? I mean, he wore the Rex Chapman jersey during the dunk contest.
You were ready for something.
I was ready, yeah.
I was trying to get out of your way.
I mean,
something was coming.
All the fans that are here fought through the icy roads to be here tonight, you know?
saving his legs, even at 18 years old.
Rebracha with the foul.
So the steal, and my partner, Mr. Hart, was just about to explode. And then he hung his head, because that's all he got. And I was thinking, on a breakaway, why doesn't he stop from the 3 line and let it go for a 3?
Well, that would have been something. What would his head coach have done?
That might pull you out. That might get you pulled out, unless he made it.
Yeah, then you just shrug. Post the subs in for North Dakota.
It'd have been a Steph Curry kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
just pull it
Steph
up.
can do it. They're selling tickets now to go see Steph for $100. You don't even see the game. Travis gets a breather just to get in the building because you got 46,000 people waiting to buy tickets. Carter Brooks has checked in the game for North Dakota. He's on the floor for the first time.
Sounds like they might be selling tickets now to Golden State to watch some other stuff.
Yes.
Durant.
Felt like a UFC fight may have broken out.
Yeah.
Draymond sitting out a game. Here's quickly. Kind of get the feeling that maybe that wasn't over just one play.
Yeah, I think there might be some issues there. They'll be all right.
Sophomore Nick Richards misses the jump hook.
They're paid professionals. They'll handle their business.
He played 9 years in the league. You ever get into it with a teammate?
Not on the court. Not open discussion. You might have a disagreement. If you run a play, if something was called for you.
Yeah.
But
that's why a shooter gets mad in the NBA. Hey, they ran the play for me.
Well, if they called your number, then a teammate's supposed to set a good pick. They didn't set a pick. Yeah, there might be a discussion. Since that's what, if you're paid to do certain things,
right, and
you don't get to do certain things.
Otto Bowers working the baseline. Push up the hero. Keldon Johnson in traffic. And he'll go back to the free throw line.
I will say this. North Dakota runs back defensively. Now they've given up some breaks, but all 5 guys in that gray jersey are sprinting back.
Johnson at the line for 2.
Jalbijek commits the foul. That's his second, and Keldon Johnson at the free throw line.
And what makes a coach like Brian Jones not happy on that is the fact they were back. I don't think he liked the whistle. These guys were just fighting for loose ball.
Ashton Hagens returns for the Cats. Different feeling in the building tonight than against Southern Illinois. Kentucky used a 14-0 run early in this thing to take control. And a North Dakota turnover. And Brian Jones not too thrilled. Jones played at Northern Iowa. He's from Rock Island, Illinois. That was with Steve Alford at Southwest Missouri State, now Missouri State and Iowa. 6 semifinals trips in the last 7 years, 4 title games, including the Big Sky in 2017.
Lost to Arizona in that trip to the NCAA.
Billy Brown has yet to score tonight, number 3 for North Dakota. He had 18 last time out. Same kind of thing you were talking about. His question for Ashton Hagens: why didn't you throw it to him? We had a play for him. Why didn't you throw it to him?
That's why we call the number out, guys.
The coaching never ends for John Calipari.
No, and again, let's go back to what we talked about earlier. It will never end for him because of the squads that he has.
Yeah.
New kids, new faces year in, year out. He's always teaching, always coaching, always instructing.
I know you love Marty McGee. Tomorrow night at 10:30 Eastern, you can catch the latest episode. They'll be covered with everything that's SEC. I know one thing that Ryan McGee is going to talk about, the new Myrtle Beach Bowl, and he's going to talk about the fact that if that doesn't come with airbrush T-shirts and unlimited go-kart rides, they're doing something wrong. That's starting in a couple years. Like everything else, you can see him live on the ESPN app as well from anywhere.
I tune in just to get a little more countrified once in a while.
Yeah,
just to
that'll do it.
Yeah, just to get a little more.
You can either dip yourself in gravy or turn it on, or both if you care. Sophomore Nick Richards at the 7'5" wingspan and a swat.
They do not have a lot of this in the Summit League. Right? When you make a move, good move. Nick Richards just waiting for that.
6'11", 7'5" wingspan. He's got a 9'1" standing reach.
19 rebounds against Southern Illinois.
It was the first time in Kentucky history, once again according to Big Blue History on Twitter, in which a Kentucky player had the same number of rebounds as the opponent. Southern Illinois had 19 total.
I looked at the number, and Kentucky had 29 more rebounds than Southern Illinois. I don't know if I've ever seen that number.
It's a lot of missed shots, isn't it? Kelvin Johnson wants a timeout with 6 seconds left in the half.
We have a timeout, Kentucky.
And they'll get something set up at the buzzer. Kentucky's on a 7-0 run, despite the fact they made only one of the last 7. Here are the numbers on Nick Richards. It was pointed out that the last time it was even close to getting as many rebounds as the opponent was Sam Bowie in 1983 in a slowdown game against Cincinnati. Bowie had 6 boards. Cincinnati as a whole had 9. There must have been like, what, 30 possessions total in that game?
Big Sam.
By the way, that's my new favorite Twitter account, @BigBlueHistory. Shout out to those guys. I was talking to the sports information staff here in Kentucky. They do a wonderful job. And I said, hey, you know, you guys back up these numbers that they tweeted out? And they said, oh, all of their stuff is good. Like, it's legit.
Good.
The research is there. Last play of the half.
2-3 zone.
First look at zone, quickly for 3. Did you like the look?
I loved it. I love the play. The zone, they recognized it quickly, got the screen, and quickly missed it.
So Kentucky with a 46-25 lead. If you stayed at home, you didn't want to brave the ice. We don't blame you. Don't forget, though, we got a whole another half of basketball coming your way. Let's get you to the studio right after this. Let's take a look at tonight's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate. Defense leading to offense for the Cats. That was emphatic. Kelvin Johnson with the throwdown.
First time they had trapped at half-court all-ball game. Worked out well.
So John Calipari is drawing it up on the dry erase board. He's saying, let's do what we did in the first half again in the second half. 52% shooting versus 33% shooting for North Dakota. They turned the Fighting Hawks over 13 times, and they had 4 blocks and 7 steals. Nick Richards starts the second half for Kentucky instead of P.J. Washington. Otherwise, the other 4 starters are the same.
Coach Cal looking for more solid defense on the half court. Won't be happy with that easy possession.
It's
Fighting Hawks.
Connor Avance, who's a 3rd-year starter. look John Calipari just gave Tyler Hero.
Well, not only was the pass bad behind his guy, he had an easy lob pass. Would have been a dunk.
Yeah.
And let's say you don't want to throw it for the dunk, but you at least put the ball ahead of your teammate for an easy layup.
It's the kind of look I give them at KS Bar when they tell me apps aren't half off anymore. Cortez Seals, the lefty. And Reed Travis with the foul. It's the first on Travis.
Similar to the start of the game.
Yeah.
North Dakota, more movement, better spacing, attacking off the dribble. Kentucky with a turnover in their first possession.
Cortez Seals out of North Scott High School in Eldridge, Iowa. Big Sky Reserve of the Year a couple of years ago as a sophomore. Now a senior, with a bunch of new faces around him. You mentioned it earlier. Returned 3 starters, but only 4 players total. So 11 players for North Dakota in uniform this season who prior to this year had never played in a college game. Here's Reed Travis. Keldon Johnson off the glass and in. Good offensive board. He's got 8 points.
Yeah, I start watching when you watch Kentucky, though they have outside shooters. Quickly, Hero. You kind of wonder, can Travis and P.J. Washington stretch a defense like we know other big guys do on different teams? Are they good enough to stretch that defense out far enough? Are they consistent enough from beyond the three-point line?
Keldon Johnson inside. It's interesting watching Keldon Johnson at practice because here's a guy who's 6'6", and throughout the summer John Calipari called him the team's most consistent shooter, yet he'll spend just as much time, if not more time, working with the bigs during practice than he does with the guards.
He's had a terrific start. 23 against Duke, 15 against Southern Illinois. Maybe the most consistent of the Wildcats.
Here's Hero. Pump fake. Long 2. Travis brought it down and lost it. Richards on the floor for it. Right into the belly of Billy Brown. Otto Bowers for 2. An air ball. Emmanuel quickly draws a foul from Keenan Walter, the junior from Vancouver, Washington. And it's Walter's second. And they'll put Emmanuel quickly at the free throw line.
And when you're a player at Kentucky with so much talent around you, you've got to make your minutes count. Because there's a lot of bodies that Coach Cal's going to play. He played in the first half. Rotation. So when you're a younger player, what's difficult to understand is how to make your minutes valuable. And most young players think that that value is only on the offensive end.
Yeah.
Can I get a shot? Can I make something happen for me?
Well, that's the most immediate rewarding, right? You make a shot, you know you made a shot.
And what coaches are watching is how well does the team play when you are on the floor, defensively, ball movement, talking, communicating, you know, making the right play at the right time.
Tyler Hero with the takeaway. Come on now, kid. Better. Better.
Yes, better. Little by little.
I like the fact that he leaves room for improvement, right? You don't break out the best against North Dakota.
You're saying it'll look different against Louisville.
Yes, it'll feel different. He turns it over there.
Here's the great thing about coaching. See, a guy makes a steal and a dunk, but the coach is going to see his turnover.
Hero, spot up three in transition. Got it! Kentucky runs a drill in practice. It's ostensibly a conditioning drill, but it's going down and running numbers, 4-on-3, 3-on-2. And in that drill, when you get a tip dunk or you make a long jumper, you automatically get the next touch next time down the floor. Tyler Hero gets a lot of touches in that drill.
He's got great hands. He's got the ability to finish from deep. He can finish at the rim. Kentucky has stretched the lead.
Nothing that John Calipari does, it isn't 100% pre-planned with benefits to it, including Kentucky's foreign tour all the way to the Bahamas. That's right, took the team down there. You can go on a foreign tour every 4 years. When he was at UMass, he used to have his UMass team take the Concorde across the Atlantic, get there fast, spend some time in Europe. And there's Cal with the t-shirt on, got to fight the sun. And wet hair. When's the last time you saw that? A snorkeling trip for the guys. That was a fun trip. I met a lot of new friends down there. Right? I was down there with Seth Greenberg and Dan Dockich. Some of my friends could swim, I learned. Some couldn't.
Wow.
That was a good trip. Interesting. Anytime you go on a boat with a group of guys and one of them never leaves the boat, even though you've got snorkels, pretty sure that guy can't swim. Here's Quade Green. And he gets it blocked. (57-32). Shade has been thrown. We're back to Rupp in a moment. College football right here on the SEC Network Saturday. Tua Tagovailoa will promise will play. He'll be on the floor against the Citadel. And on the floor. I'm cross-referencing my sports now. Can you tell it's cross season? UMass Georgia 4 o'clock. And other games on the alternate, including Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, Liberty, Auburn, Chattanooga, South Carolina. I'll be with my guys on Nashville's West End. Vandy hosting Ole Miss. Speaking of Kentucky, here's what our guys think that they're looking at for the bowl season. Mitch Sherman of ESPN.com says it'll be the Outback against Michigan State. Kyle says it'll be the Citrus against Northwestern. That's a Northwestern team that will be playing for the Big Ten title, despite the fact they lost 3 non-conference games. You can find the SEC Network alternate channel in your area. Go to secnetwork.com/channel. All games also streaming live on the ESPN app.
Northwestern playing the winner of Michigan Ohio State. Would that be correct? For the title?
Yes. Yeah. And if Northwestern wins that game, then Big Ten's going to get shut out of the playoff, it seems. Yeah. PJ Washington. So let's say Georgia beats Alabama in the championship game. You could have 2 SEC teams plus Notre Dame. You could have 4 other conferences shut out.
It's not how they wanted it drawn up.
No, not everybody. Connor Avance commits his 3rd.
Good for the SEC.
I'm sure the folks in Birmingham won't mind. If it comes at the cost of another conference or 2, well, so be it. By the way, thoughts and prayers to the Pelfrey family. John Pelfrey, unforgettable, lost his mother-in-law, Mrs. Lyon, and so thoughts with Tracy and their entire family. They're back in Paintsville right now. John leading that Alabama team that he's an assistant coach for the time being. You know, they're watching the game tonight back at home. His jersey's still up there in the rafters, although there was a point that somebody absconded with it once. May have been his wife, Tracy. Imagine having one of those hanging in the house. It's
a little bit large, you're saying?
A little large. You better have a big man cave if that's what you're going to do.
Quade Green's been quiet tonight. Not a lot of minutes. A little inconsistent when the minutes come.
Otto Bowers with his 2nd personal. There's a lot of jerseys up there. Man, what a great example of history, huh?
Yeah, really is. Really is. The players, the tradition, passion of the fans, no matter where they play. It's hard to explain to people from the outside if they've never either been here or be seeing Kentucky on the road.
It was funny. We're talking right before the game with John Robick, and we're talking about a Missouri team that went and lost at Iowa State earlier this week. But he said, boy, it sure was loud when we went there last year. And I was thinking to myself, Robes, it's loud everywhere you go. You're Kentucky.
That's right.
Billy Brown still scoreless after 18 last time. He was a great high school football player as well as basketball. And he gives it up. Rabracha with the bucket.
North Dakota's offense only slows down when they sit on the ball. When one guy kind of has it, tries to do too much. When they move it, maybe a couple dribbles and move it, they're better. Could have been an and one situation for Washington.
15 tonight. Shout out to the folks back in North Dakota watching us at Joe Black's over at the Hub. I know that the fans locally are really excited about just going up the interstate to play the old rivals instead of those flights and trips that they had to take. It's a 12-hour travel day every time any athletic team went on the road in conference.
Every game changing altitudes made it difficult, and as Brian Jones told us, he said, you know, our fan base has been great, always has been great, but the fact of you getting to play old rivals again, an easier travel.
Philip Rabracha has another one coming. You grew up in that area.
I was born in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, so as a kid, the North Central Conference was a big deal, and the South Dakota States, which my oldest brother played at, in South Dakota, and as I mentioned, Morningside, North Dakota State. The great name from North Dakota in their program was Phil Jackson.
Yep.
So, I mean, those schools and the traditions are great when they were Division II. Now they're all Division I. And you throw it in Omaha and you throw it in Denver, and the league is very, very good. Very competitive.
Ben Jacobson, the coach at Northern Iowa, played there as well. Remember they upset Kansas in 2010 behind Ali Farouk Manesh's late three.
They became the favorites forever for the University of Missouri fan base and alumni, as you and I are both.
Dale Brown's from North Dakota. Played at Minot State. Senior year set the state scoring record playing at St. Leo's High School. Jeff Boschee played at Kansas. Doug McDermott.
And what's interesting for Kentucky fans following this and listening, North Dakota is known, especially at the university, they get 15,000 fans every game out for hockey. I mean, it is a powerhouse. And their hockey team kind of sets the tone.
Brown cut off by Higgins.
Good hands by Higgins. Solid defender.
He left two behind. Washington up front.
Quade Green with an assist, and I hope they give him an assist because he just tipped the pass quickly.
They get Keldon Johnson for the bump. That's his second personal.
The foul is on Johnson. That's his second and the team's third.
This was a Kentucky team that was shell-shocked after that loss to Duke in a lot of different ways, and I think every element of the program was shell-shocked. From the folks who were in charge of the recruiting, to those who dropped the scouting report and the game plan, to the players themselves. And it seemed like that hangover continued against Southern Illinois. Now they look like they're back on track where you can just kind of release all that stress and just come out and play the level of basketball they're used to.
Well, rarely if you're Kentucky or any big name program do you get exposed that badly on national TV. And it happens to some programs, but not to Kentucky. Especially against a team like Duke that had similar age players.
Yes.
Right? All young guys playing against each other. Wasn't like some veteran team walked in there and hammered them. So a shock, but maybe in the long run it will be good for, I know it's always good for coaching staff because they learn quickly what their team's all about.
Keldon Johnson fouled again. We've got a timeout on the floor. Kentucky up 64-36. P.J. Washington off the tip ahead from Quade Green. And the Cats off and running again. They're on a 12-2 run. Well, Kentucky loaded with talent each and every season. And in terms of the newcomers, these are the guys ranked highly according to ESPN. Tyler Hero, the worst rated recruit in this class, came in 30th. He did not play in the McDonald's All-American game. When he found out he wasn't invited, he took one look around, packed his bag, went straight to the gym, got more shots up. Second-ranked recruiting class in the country, 5 in the ESPN 100. Keldon Johnson, E.J. Montgomery, Ashton Hagans, Emmanuel Quickly, and Tyler Hero. Duke was #1. Never before have we seen 3 players from the same program go in the top 5 of the NBA draft. That could happen with the Duke guys. In fact, there's a chance, they say, that the Duke guys could go 1, 2, 3 in order overall.
So do we give them the trophy right now then?
Yeah, why are we playing, right?
Yeah. Well, when you looked at that list and you look at the Kentucky freshmen, you see size, you got speed, you got shooters. Now you just probably need maturity. You need to learn the game, understand how each other play. What are the strengths of my teammates? What are the weaknesses of my teammates and myself? You learn all those things in the progression. It's a long season. There'll be some pretty good ups, and they've already experienced a big down, but there'll be a few downs. They're going to play in a league. This SEC is dynamite. And up top sits Tennessee and Auburn, the co-champs last year, and both are loaded to make a run again this season.
Keldon Johnson knocks down a pair of free throws.
And how about you're going to be in Vandy doing football, but how about the basketball team? Vandy knocked off USC, a very good USC team. 2 freshmen. Darius Garland, who had 19 in that game. Simi Chitu had 14 and 15 rebounds. Wow. Leads the league in rebounding at over 12 and a half a game. That's 2 big-time freshmen. This league is loaded.
Best recruiting class in Vanderbilt history.
LSU with a good win over Memphis.
That was a great win. Penny Hardaway with an NBA staff, right?
Yeah.
He's got Sam Mitchell. He's got Mike Miller on the staff. That's a lot of points sitting there.
Suppose they can still lace it up? Maybe not.
They might. They might try.
They'd play a zone. I'll just say that.
By the way, speaking of it being early in the Duke demolition of Kentucky, well, Michigan, known as a defensive team, hammered Villanova tonight 73-46. Rematch of the national title game. Villanova held to 46 points, so nobody is immune.
That's an amazing number.
Auburn won 103-52. They played Mississippi College. How about the atmosphere at Auburn Friday night? They knocked off a ranked Washington squad. And then Washington, on their way out, saw their bus catch fire.
Yeah.
Talk about a fat night.
Yeah, that Auburn team is another team. Fast, shooters, big. They can press you and will.
Yep.
Not many weaknesses. And when they're at home, they will be difficult because that home court student body there is fantastic.
Takes it to another level.
Tough to broadcast there because they sit right behind us.
Yeah, you better. I like to go in the media room and bribe them with waters and Cokes. That way they don't spit on the suit.
Kermit Davis got his first win at Ole Miss right out of the blocks. Terrence Davis had a good game. Got some weapons.
Georgia had a tough one. Yep. Tom Crean's squad lost on the road at Temple. Their plane got stuck. How about this?
Good finish.
Breakaway dunk by Rebraca. They're playing. They're flying out of Spartanburg, South Carolina, instead of Athens, and their plane just kind of rolled off the runway, got stuck in the mud. I don't think Tom Crean's program is going to be stuck in the mud. I was there for their opening night shindig with the dunk contest. We're in town for football, and I saw more people there that night than I saw for a lot of Georgia games in recent history. That was a great sign.
Well, a little bit of energy, and we know what Tom Crean is like. He's energetic. He'll recruit. Their team will get up and down. Georgia's always had a lot of athletes. This time he may let them get loose a little bit.
Quick baseline drive, but then a foul and a technical foul. Sophomore Nick Richards for the final time.
You knew when he let go of the ball and didn't catch it, he knew.
Yes,
yeah. He knew.
If you're going to do it,
yeah,
you got to catch it. If he got the personal foul, then he's fouled out, because that would be a double dip.
So frustrated, and he's going to. In right, he looked and he thought, oh, what did I do?
The personal foul that was his
yeah.
And then a technical foul.
So he's done. He'll foul out after collecting the personal and the technical foul. And the technical free throw is coming from Annen Moody, freshman from Dickinson High School. High school mascot is the midget. That's not a good sign for a basketball team, is it? Senior year, scored better than 30 points a game. Mr. Basketball in the state of North Dakota 2 years ago. Two-time Gatorade Player of the Year.
Shooter extraordinaire. I watched him today shoot around. Doesn't miss many open shots when they're just shooting. Redshirted a season ago.
He said when he shoots, he puts up 400 shots. And the quote, "I'd like to make 300 of those." It's good. Is that a good ratio? Just out there shooting?
All depends.
Yours was probably a little bit higher.
Well, I mean, it all depends. Two things about shooting. First is accuracy, right? Second then is speed. How quickly can you get the shot off? So you've got to challenge yourself. 300 out of 400 would be okay for a good shooter, but then how fast can I release the ball? Now put a teammate with a hand in my face in a wide variety of shots.
Avance has 9. The North Dakota bench in their opener got 68 points from bench players. That was the most since the turn of the century. Here's Tyler Hero.
Great pass. Quickly with a good assist. They've got enough guys that can handle the ball out front. There's Kentucky. That they're interchangeable parts, even at the point guard position. A lot of guys can push it. Hero brings it this time.
Here's Hero off the curl. Travis with the board.
It's funny because as a shooter he missed that one. And Reed Travis really gave Hero another look.
You thought he was going to
I thought he'd pull it right away. Without putting it on the floor, just catch it and release it.
Long jumper by E.J. Montgomery.
It's pretty good range for the 6'10 freshman.
His first bucket, largest lead of the night for Kentucky. Amen with the pump fake. And he'll go to the free throw line. Second personal on Montgomery.
That's his second. That's his second. Avance at the line.
Can we do a game where we just mic John Calipari the entire time?
It'd be entertaining.
I don't know if we'd get paid for showing up, but we'd learn a lot, wouldn't we?
Well, he's nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, when you watch him from where we sit, it's constant.
Number 4, Alpha. Also number 24, Hensick.
He's been around these guys a lot already. We showed you the video from the trip to the Bahamas. I was talking to Reed Travis about it. He said, man, you look up, we're 2 games into the season, kind of feels like we're midway through it because we've been together for so long. We've had the practices and that long trip in August.
Yeah, those trips, and teams obviously do a lot of trips nowadays. Great for learning each other. Gives coaches much more time with their teams.
A couple buckets late for E.J. Montgomery. Travis with the foul. That's a second. Tyler Hero, 6'5" freshman with a great touch around the rim. Kentucky's held North Dakota to just 17 points in the second half. Let's take a trip around the SEC. Get ready for Lower Broadway. SEC tournament's going to stay in Music City through 2035 with a trip to Tampa in the middle of that. Georgia lost to Temple 81-77. They're in it late, but they got there a little bit later than they thought. Team plane rolled off the runway before they could get up in the air. They had to find a new one. And Chuma Okeke, do you love me? SEC Player of the Week. Nearly a double-double if you round it up. Sunday, Cats are back at it. VMI will be in town. The Keydets make a trip to Rupp Arena. 6 Eastern, 5 Central. You can always watch in the ESPN app from anywhere. Somebody told me about Kiki last week. Who was that? That was during the Tennessee.
Someone that probably loved you, really. Somebody that probably cares and loves you that time.
Avance into double figures now. Back to the free throw line. He's not impressed with your lyrics.
So what do you think he's thinking right now? About his squad tonight. What's different tonight than he's seen obviously the Duke thing and then Southern Illinois?
I think the effort was better from P.J. Washington. The motor was better tonight.
Yep.
Took better care of the basketball. They turned it over at a high rate. Not only the raw numbers of turnovers, but also turned it over at a high rate against Southern Illinois. And the message today was, you know, no disrespect, but we're not going to really worry about North Dakota so much. And a lot of coaches say this early in the year. We've got to worry about us. Do you?
Well, and finding out how players respond. A, to adversity, because they haven't been Kentucky yet, right? People are wondering who they are. And how do they react with minutes of 3 minutes in, then you sit out, then you play a few minutes. Tonight, Quade Green has not had many minutes, but now back in, just had an assist.
14 minutes total for Green. P.J. Washington has hit 3 threes tonight, but he has also turned it over 3 times. And he is nearing his career high. That was 22 against Mississippi State last year. And one coming. E.J. Montgomery commits the foul. And Philip Rebracha goes to the free throw line. 19th foul on Kentucky. You know, John Calipari knows his team so well. And I think what he knows is, because he's been doing this for so long, the result of his directives. So he was talking about what he wanted them to do defensively tonight. And he made the comment, it was with Tom Leach, a Kentucky radio announcer who does a fantastic job at practice today. He was telling both of us, he goes, you know, we're probably going to commit some fouls tonight, but that's okay. That's fine. I'll put up with it.
Well, there are little things. Like Hagens is a solid defender and really pretty good on the ball defender. But when you're good on the ball defender but then you get beat off the dribble, that's a killer for the backside. So last possession, previous one down, Cal jumps up and brings him over, and I'm sure he told him, you know, you're good, but you can't get beat off the dribble. Because once you do, then we're in trouble, and there's pressure on the guys behind you.
And that's a guy that loves to play defense. I mean, when he first got here, wasn't necessarily looking to shoot. How about this? Nice. P.J. Montgomery may have hurt his hand on the rim. Huddlebauer is off the mark. Hagen's leaking out. And the freshman from Cartersville, Georgia, has his first bucket.
Graduated early, enrolled early. Get to Kentucky.
Yeah, he originally committed to Georgia.
Yeah, they played for Mark Fox.
Elijah Hazekamp with the bucket. Sioux City, Iowa native out of Bishop Heelan. This P.J. Washington has a new career high. He has made 4 threes tonight. He went through the draft process this spring and summer, and one of the things they told him is you need to develop your face-up game, work on your ball handling a little bit. Ball handling still has a way to go, but 4 deep balls from P.J. Washington.
Well, if he can pick and pop, well, why wouldn't you shoot it again? No, he's not.
Maybe that's a sign that he's not a shooter.
That's right. He's not a pure shooter. He made the last one. You pick, you pop, you've got it, you shoot it. He'll get that.
5th team foul on North Dakota. Philip Rebracha commits his 3rd. And P.J. Washington to the free throw line. Was a number 12 overall prospect last year coming out of Findlay Prep. And a host of subs checking in again. One thing you won't see this season in a game like this is Brad Calipari. Plan is for him to redshirt. Give him another year. And this was usually about the time that John Calipari was trying to keep Brad's mom happy. Get him in, get some looks. Say, look, I played your son tonight. 25 for PJ. Brad chilling on the bench. He's still very much an active part of the team. Redshirting is the plan, but out there with the scout team every practice. P.J. Washington gets a breather. Final 4.5 it looks like.
And a great hand for Washington from the home crowd.
Emmanuel quickly with the easy pick. And off the window. First bucket of the night for Billy Brown, the junior out of Spirit Lake, Iowa. He was also a wide receiver on an undefeated state championship team. Took the opening kickoff back 82 yards for a score. Had a pick 6 in that one. A touchdown run. A little bit of everything at Spirit Lake High School. And now Billy Brown's got his first bucket tonight. P.J. Washington keying the tempo for Kentucky. And Quade Green with the lob to E.J. Montgomery. A late night and a cold night in the Commonwealth. Everything's all and well with the Cats. Kentucky up on North Dakota 88-55. And the Cats as a whole having a great night. 46 in the first half, already 42 in the second half. They're shooting 55% from the floor, and they are getting some looks.
Done it on both ends. Defensively, been aggressive. Steals, rebounds, kicking out. Had some open looks. You take a look at the numbers. A career high for P.J. Washington. Solid from the outside shooting the basketball.
So at what point can Kentucky just forget about the Duke game? You know, like, could you ever forget about getting embarrassed at 6th grade summer camp and everybody could swim but you couldn't? Or is that something that sticks with you for a lifetime? Is that Duke loss one that's going to stick with Kentucky for the entire season?
Well, I think it'll be around because it was Duke until Kentucky beats teams of that level, right? Yeah, it's going to be around for a while.
And they'll have those opportunities within the conference and when Kansas comes to town.
Yeah.
corner three.
And most people still have Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, Gonzaga as the top squads. You can mix in a few, but Kentucky's still up there in many people's minds.
They after the beating that Villanova took tonight, the hands of Michigan. Yeah, wow. Reed Travis has 9. And Connor Avance got shook up on that one. Reed Travis said the biggest difference for me this year is I can't just be a bull in a china shop. He said I was able to do that at Stanford a lot, just power my way through. Now he's trying to play. He's being asked to play above the rim more, especially defensively. Well, he was just a bull in Connor Avance china shop, and he broke everything that was on the counter.
But he's a big dude. His lower body is so solid.
Challenged the shot that time and commits a foul on Marco Kudrow.
Pretty good move by Kudrow. Right at Travis. If Travis has a weakness, he's not as quick as some of the top athletes at this level. Uses his strength to his advantage.
Kudrow is from France, first French citizen to play basketball in North Dakota.
And Brian Jones talked about the international flavor that North Dakota is starting to pick up with their recruiting.
Danny Mihalovic, she is one of the assistant coaches. It was interesting. He said that it's easier for them. An inefficiency in recruiting stateside is finding skilled big players because they are so valued and maybe overvalued that they get to the next level squad so they can find those guys from overseas.
Yeah, overvalued in that, and on both sides, overvalued that a bigger Division I school will take them, Power 5, and overvalued that sometimes the kid or the parents of the kid think they can play at that level. Sometimes they can't. End up maybe transferring, coming down, but that's why you see more size at a higher level.
And let's face it, if you recruit a kid from Serbia, he might not think that North Dakota is very cold.
Might like it. Yeah, fits perfect.
I mean, it was freezing cold today here in Lexington, and when North Dakota finished their shoot around, a handful of their guys left the gym not only in shorts but also in flip-flops with no socks. Like what's not a big deal? Yeah, not a big deal. And if you think it's a big deal, you're soft. Big hand as John Calipari is able to empty the bench. Johnny David is on the floor now for the Cats. And meanwhile, Brian Jones to do the same. Ethan Igbanagu enters, a freshman out of Lakeville, Minnesota. Now we'll see if Johnny David can get a shot off. Under 2 minutes to go. Hero off the screen. Tyler Hero's got 18 tonight. He made the only 3 that he took.
Gets his confidence back after everybody wanted to know what was wrong with him.
Zach Sadler is also in the game for North Dakota. Ball lost by Bentu Panome, sophomore out of Alaska. Hero catch, shoot, and off the mark. And David got his hand on the basketball. It'll stay with Kentucky. Higgins all the way in. Find Johnny David. He's number 10 in white.
Johnny's got to find an opening.
Calls for the ball screen. They switch. Montgomery decides he'll put it up.
Got to give the fans what they're asking for, don't you?
I mean, can't be shy, right?
No, teammates are giving him looks. Crowd wants him to shoot it.
Johnny's a big-time golfer. I don't think he leaves a driver in the bag that often, but he did tonight. Kentucky's going to go to 2-1 on the season. And a historic win for Kentucky tonight. They finally face a team from the state of North Dakota, and now they have defeated a team from every state in the Union. The only losing record they have against any state is Connecticut. That's 3-4, 2-2 against teams from D.C. And the Kentucky Wildcats, in the history of their program, have now defeated a team from every state. This is a squad that gave up 1.5 points per possession to Duke, but they win their 45th consecutive game against an unranked non-conference team at home. They do it by holding North Dakota to 40% shooting, and Kentucky was able to hit 6 of 13 from deep. The Cats shot 53%, and they turn it over only 13 times tonight. Kentucky with 5 players in double figures. P.J. Washington, a career-high 25. And Keldon Johnson with his first double-double. He had 12 points and 10 boards. So big win for Kentucky. They got VMI coming in next. That's 6 o'clock Sunday with yours truly and Andy Kennedy. And that will be on the SEC Network. So let's get to the floor. John Sunvold standing by with John Calipari.
Thanks, Tom. Coach, you know, every year you've got a young team. You go through a lot of things. What does it take, and what do you learn from a game? Let's go back to the Duke game. What was learned to the players? What was learned?
Well, what it did, if that would have happened our 8th game, 7th game, we really had a problem. I knew we had some issues, and I went beyond where the kids were ready to go. And so now I pulled it all back, and we're back down to screening, setting men up for a screen, knowing how to block out, active hands defensively, stopping drives, taking charge. How about loose balls? We did loose ball drills 7 times in 2 days. And so, but I went beyond it and acted like we're going to be this, you know. So most of it is what I learned. And I told them they'll do what I ask them to do or demand. Obviously, I had done a crap job. Hopefully now we'll figure it out and go.
And North Dakota comes in here much like Southern Illinois, but your team was different tonight than the Southern Illinois game.
Because we had 3 or 4 practices of this is how this is going to be. And I'm holding them accountable. I told them at halftime, you know, I'm not accepting some of the stuff. And that means I'm going to get on you hard, and then you got to deal with it. Because I'm letting you know there's things like EJ in the first half didn't dive on the floor. Guess what? He dove twice in the second half because I kind of let him have it. Like, you're going to dive on that floor.
You've always had a great barometer of where your teams can get to, and maybe not win, they can get there, but what about this squad?
I don't know yet. I need a couple guys to step up. PJ did some good stuff today, but I need him to play like that every minute he's in the game. And it's not just making threes. It's going and getting rebounds. EJ, you know, I'm starting to think just play him. Let's let it. He can do things normal players can't do. You need separators. You can't just have 9 really good players. You got to have someone who can, like he came up on one play when we pressed and still got back to block it. Wait a minute. That's the kind of guys that have helped us get to there and then be that team at the end of the year.
And it never ends teaching. I'm watching you were on Hagens, who's a solid defender, but then gets beat off the dribble, which you were right up.
Yeah. But you know what? He was great today, really. And I tried to get him to do some stuff offensively because I want him to feel better. But, you know, Tyler Hero finally got it going. Like, Devin Booker was 1 for 9 his first 9 shots, and then he did make like 14 out of 21 after that. But this kid was the same, couldn't make a shot. So then you start making shots and you're going to throw look-away passes and go lose your mind. I mean, so we got a lot of growing up. I told him it's a process. I'm fine. I'm a little old to do this every year. You and I were talking. I kind of forget what the grind was last year. We lost 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And then in the end, okay, we got it, and everybody's happy, I'm happy. Yeah. And I didn't remember that we went through that a year ago.
Well, great win. And you guys will get better, and we'll see you down the road.
Thanks, John.
All right, John Calipari's Cats go to 2-1. They got VMI next. That is Sunday at 6 o'clock right here on the SEC Network with yours truly. That look says it all. And Andy Kennedy. Our final score, Kentucky 96, North Dakota 58. E.J. Montgomery, 8.7 boards in 26 minutes. P.J. Washington, 25 points in 17 minutes. Kentucky looks to be back on a roll. We'll see if it continues on Sunday. For John Sundvold, I'm Tom Hart. So long from Lexington.